Hello and good morning. Welcome to the Rise and Shine podcast. I am your host, Haylee Jacob, and today we are going to talk about voting and talk about my feelings on voting and how important I think it is and how we should approach voting and approach praying for our nation as Christians. So grab your coffee, find your comfiest chair, and let's So I actually had a different episode planned for today. It is that I have been working on for a long time and been wanting to do for a really long time. And I still want to do it. Like, it will still come. So don't think, oh my gosh, like whatever this is, we're not getting it. You will get it possibly next week. But I feel like I wasn't ready to record it yet. Like, me personally, I was not ready to record this. So here we are. It's also raining really hard outside right now. There were some tornadoes last night where I live. We were up at 4 a.m. with a tornado warning. And I just felt like now is not the time for that episode with all this going on. But tomorrow is election day. If you're watching this the day it comes out, tomorrow is November 5th, the election day for the 2024 election. And while it is too late to register to vote, I do want to encourage you all to be praying and really think about who to vote for and really be praying for this country, whichever direction the election goes. 1 Timothy chapter 2, verses 1 through 2 says, I urge then, first of all, that petitions, prayers, intercession, and thanksgiving be made for all people, for kings, and he means for all kings, and all those in authority, that we may live peaceful and quiet lives in all godliness and holiness. And I do want to point out that he says all those in authority. He means for all people, for all kings, no matter or not they're your party, no matter or not you completely agree with them. We pray for them. I do believe that as Christians, we should vote. I know that there are a lot of different denominations, different parts of Christianity, or different sections of Christianity that believe differently. I do believe that we should vote, and we should vote according to our faith and our beliefs. And there are a lot of things happening in this country right now. There are a lot of lies. There's a lot of hatred. There's a lot of confusion being spread right now. And so really, I think now more than ever, Christians need to vote and vote according to their beliefs. We should absolutely be praying for our nation. That is the most important thing. We should pray. Like, praying comes before voting. Yes, I definitely agree. We should be praying first and foremost. But while we are praying, we need to keep our eyes open on how God is going to answer those prayers. We need to be aware. Maybe he's going to answer it differently than what we think. You could pray all day long, but if Christians don't go out there and vote according to our worldview, according to our beliefs, according to what we think is important, and the other side is doing that, the other side is going out and voting, then what do you think will happen, right? If the other side is going out and voting and we're not, I'm not saying that it is a works-based theology, but I am saying that God understands how our country works. He understands how it was set up. He understands that votes equal the president. Right? And of course, there's the Electoral College and all that. But he understands. He was there when it was set up. He understands how our country works. And if we're not going out when he's calling us to action based on how our country works, then we're hindering the answer. We're hindering our prayers being answered. God could absolutely work miracles, yes, and just make this person our president. Sure, he can. He can work miracles like that. He absolutely can. But he wants to use us as vessels. That's That's our purpose, is to be used by God, to worship God in everything that we do, to give him glory in all things that we do, including voting, including how we live our lives in whatever country we're in. For me, it's America, right? For you, it might not be, but we have to be open and ready to do what he's calling us to do for the answer he wants to give us. If he doesn't want to just snap his fingers, if that's not his will, and make this person the president, he wants us to step out and move into action, then we have to be ready and willing to do that. I heard from a preacher the other day, and I've actually heard it several times over the last couple of weeks, that Christians are the least likely group to go out and vote. And that saddens me. And I think I understand why a little bit, like why Christians are so hesitant to vote. We think, is it biblical? Voting isn't technically in the Bible, but there are a lot of things in our culture that aren't technically in the Bible, but the Bible can still speak on them. But we have to think of this as spiritual warfare. We wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against rulers and principalities. We have to move when God says move, because yes, voting is a physical action. Yes, it is voting for like a literal ruler, but we have to look at it as a spiritual battle, that we're voting for we're going up against rulers and principalities physically and spiritually. Proverbs 29:2 says, when the righteous thrive, the people rejoice. When the wicked rule, the people groan. And again, in Proverbs 14:34 says, righteousness exalts a nation, but sin condemns any people. I want you to take those two verses and really think about them. Like, let them color how you're going to vote. Let them color your opinions on what a nation should look like. It says righteousness exalts a nation, and sin condemns any people. I'm not saying that like America was like always a Christian nation, and like, because I don't know if I believe that fully, actually. I do think a lot of our founding fathers were Christian, and a lot of our principles are Christian principles, but I'm not necessarily saying that, but we should be the righteous ones in the nation. If we are righteous and we vote according to our righteousness, then that should exalt the nation. I think there's a lot of deception happening too, especially with all elections. Politics are known to be deceptive, but especially this one. And I am seeing too many Christians fall for this deception. We talked a couple weeks ago about the armor of God, and there are some Christians out there, and if you didn't see that episode, I do encourage you to go back and watch it or listen to it, because the armor of God is so, so important, especially today. But anyway, there are some Christians out there who are going into battle, into this political battle, into this voting battle without their armor on. They aren't praying about the issues. They aren't educating themselves in the truth, in God's truth, and in the truth of what's going on politically. You can't take everything you hear on the news as truth. They're letting themselves be easily swayed by rhetoric and by surface level promises, instead of diving deep and praying that the Lord will reveal the truth to them. We have to pray. The Lord says he will reveal himself to us. Like, if you pray and seek his face and seek his truth, he will reveal his truth to you. He will not withhold that. And he may withhold it for a time and reveal it at the proper time, but he will not withhold his truth. Some of us are more concerned with personalities of the candidates than the ideas that they stand for. And I find that a big problem. God did not say that all rulers were going to be Christians. He didn't say that. He didn't even say that they all would be good people. But he did say that all rulers were appointed by God, by him. Romans 13 verse 1 says, "Let everyone be subject to the governing authorities, for there is no authority except that which is established by, which God has established. The authorities that exist have been established by God." Now, that's not to say that we should follow unbelieving rulers blindly into sin because God put them there, so we got to do everything they say. That's not what that verse means. But it does mean that God knew beforehand who would rule every single nation, every single leader. He knew every single person in any type of authority position, who that would be beforehand. And he will use them, whether or not they know it. He will use them, whether Trump wins or whether Kamala Harris wins. They will be used in one way or another by God. It does mean also that we follow the laws of the land unless they go completely against our freedoms to worship and serve God. Obviously, I don't think we're there yet. We still have the freedom to worship, but it does mean we have to follow the laws of the land. So we want to elect somebody who is going to make laws according to our religious beliefs and freedoms that we have. So whoever ends up being president, no matter what laws are created in the future, God is still in control and he is still king. He knows every single ruler. He knows every single person in authority, and they have been established by God. No matter what side they're on, God knew that they were going to be there, and he's going to use that for the good of his kingdom in some way, shape, or form because he is still king. 2 Chronicles 7 verse 14 says, "If my people who are called by my name will humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then I will hear from heaven, and I will forgive their sin and I will heal their land." So, my fellow Christians, and even if there are any unbelievers out there, I urge you, think about the issues, not the person. Think about who will represent your beliefs and pray long and hard about the state of our country and for our next leader of the country. Humble yourself, turn from your wicked ways, drown out the loud voices of lies and confusion and replace them with God's peace and truth, and pray. The Lord will heal our land one way or another. This episode, please share it with your friends and leave a review, subscribe, and follow the podcast on Instagram at the Rise and Shine Podcast, and the word "and" is spelled out. If you have any questions or topics you'd like me to discuss, go ahead and leave a comment below if you're watching on YouTube, or send me an email, Haylee.riseandshine@gmail.com. That's Haylee, and the word "and" is spelled out. Now, go up and shine.